Hello, I'm Brad Phillips. I'm here for Puppy Steps Training, and today we're going to be doing a demonstration for North Star Goldens. I have Sally in the crate with me today. We did an 8-week boot camp for her, and so this demonstration is going to show you what we've worked on, what she's learned, how to continue with it, and how to be consistent. It is important to note that she is not finished. The dog should never be finished with training. You should always seek to improve and maintain this training. So it's also important to remember that she is still a puppy. I mean, she's young, 6 months old or so. And so she is still in this puppy phase, but also kind of going into this teenage phase where she is going to test the water, and she needs to understand that you are going to be the leader. You are the pack leader, and you give her information anytime that she seeks it, which is all the time. Anytime that you're with a dog, you're getting it some type of information, and it's learning what your expectations are. So we are going to go through a series of manners, obedience commands. We'll talk about house training, leash training, and then also crate training. So first thing we're going to do is show you some of her manners. We're going to first let her out of the crate. Anytime she comes through a doorway, whether it's a crate or the house door, we expect her to hold a stay. This should be an automatic behavior. If she did try and break, I would simply tell her no, lift my leg up and block her, but I do expect her to hold that stay. My marker and release word is okay, so that marks the correct behavior, releases from stay. She knows when she hears that word, she's done the behavior correctly, and some type of reward is coming. So we're going to let her out here. Nope. Okay. Now, Sally here absolutely loves her crate. Good girl, good girl. And so you will see her go in quite a bit. Anytime we start doing anything, she tries to guess what we're trying to do, and oftentimes that leads her running into the crate. So I do like to leave the crate open and in a place that she can get to it. That way also if she gets too stressed out, she has a place she can go and relax. Excuse me. So what she's doing right here is what we consider her greeting. This is a replacement behavior for jumping, as well as it's just what I expect anytime I call my dog to me. She knows that she is not going to get any attention until she sits. Keeps her planted, gets her eye contact, so I know she's focused on me and she's being behaved. If she's running around or jumping, I'll direct my attention away, and I'm not going to give her any attention until she does sit. So with jumping, we have that replacement behavior. It works miracles on these dogs, but also we have established the command off, and that's if she jumps up on me or onto the couch or anything she's not supposed to. I'll tell her off and I expect her to get down. This is also a time that if I do have a leash on her, so like if we met somebody new and she tried to jump, I would give her a leash correction. I'd just give her 2 pops on the leash. Good girl, good girl. It's also important that if she does run up to you and you feel like she's going to jump, that you never step backwards. As soon as you step back, you're making it a game. It's more encouraging for her to jump. Instead, I'll always step into her and restrict the space, and that way I'll also bring my knee up when she does try and jump, and that will put her backwards. So she's done really well with the jumping. You shouldn't have any issues, but the command is off if she does jump. Good girl. So now her mealtime manners. Anytime we feed her, I expect her to hold a sit stay. And so I'm actually going to bring her over here, ask her to sit, stay, no, sit, stay. Okay, and if she breaks like that, I'll just tell her to sit and stay again. I'm going to make sure that I always end on a correct behavior. She can never get away with breaking. We do spend a lot of time handling her. She does have a little bit more of a cautious personality, and so we make sure that we want to help her build that confidence, handle her so she's not going to be overly sensitive. Oh, good girl. And which she thrives for affection. She loves to be in your lap and having you pet her. Oh, good girl. Good girl. Now, another big manner that we've worked on is chewing. Chewing is a huge behavior for dogs because, they don't have hands. They use their mouth like we do hands. They like to put things in their mouth, they feel it, they chew on it, And so you don't want your house getting destroyed. You don't want that chewing to become a destructive behavior. And so it's important that we give our dogs adequate things to chew on. Give them toys, give them bully sticks or marrow bones, things like that. And also keep it exciting. I won't give her free access to her own toys. I'll give her different ones throughout the day, and that way it's exciting. If I gave her this toy and she dropped it and walked away, I would then take it away so she doesn't have free access to her own toys. And that prevents boredom with her own things, and that way she's not going to go seek something new. Also with boredom is if you have a downtime, or if she has a downtime where she's just left alone with nothing to do, that's when chewing and some of those destructive behaviors happen. And so it's important that you give your dog plenty of things to do. But she does love toys, loves to play with them. A lot of times she likes to take them in her crate. But we have taught her a drop it command, so when she, come here, come here. Might have to close her crate to show you. Come on, drop it. Good girl. When she brings it back, I can ask her to drop it. Good girl. Drop it. Good girl. And I shouldn't have to try and grab it out of her mouth or try and pull it from her. She should just physically release it. And you can see if she has a hold it, drop it. Good girl, I just want her to let go. If she didn't, and I would just grab it and hold it really still and just make it unappealing by not letting her pull it around or chew on it. And if she still didn't give it up, I would just slip my thumb behind her canines and push on her tongue. You just slip it in there, she'll open her mouth as wide as she can. I also use toys a lot if she's going to be out and around kids, because kids are like the greatest thing in the world to a dog, because they're the perfect height, they run, they squeal, and your dog just wants to play along. And then they'll end up accidentally knocking them over, drop it, grabbing a pant leg, just doing something that then could have an adverse effect, whether it be she accidentally bites the neighborhood kid and then his mom's mad that your dog bit her kid, something like that. So I do use a toy all the time when kids play with my dog. It's a rule, they have to have a toy. And that way, it gives her something to go after. She's not going to go after a pant leg or an arm, but she'll go after the toy. And then if you do have a child that maybe gets a little bit nervous, they can then throw the toy and direct her away. So toys are a big thing. Plus, she just has a great toy drive, loves to play. Drop it. Drop it. Good girl. Now, we've also taught her to be very cautious with her mouth. I don't want her to bite my hand. And so we've taught her to be gentle, and the command is just gently. We use this a lot if she just seems overexcited. I can just ask her gently, and I expect her to be very cautious when taking the food out of my hand. I also always give it in the palm of my hand versus the thumb and forefinger. Gently. Good girl. And I don't ever want to fill her teeth. So that concludes our manners. Now we're going to hop into our commands portion. So now the first two commands we're going to talk about are come and watch me. These two are our most basic commands. We teach them from day one. Also, they're very important commands. One gets eye contact, the other one gets your dog back. It's a recall. So after we do that, then we'll show you hand signals for sit, down, and stay, and then we'll do go to bed, crate, and leave it. So the first one, watch me, is just to get eye contact. That's all I'm looking for, nothing more. And this one's very easy to do. You can distract your dog a number of different ways. Watch me. Okay. And then I'll mark it as soon as I have eye contact. I can even put the food in front of her face. Hey, you're just going to stare at the food now. Huh? Watch me. Okay, good girl. It's just as simple as that, just getting that eye contact. Very simple command, but one that I use food with all the time so that it's very, very motivating to follow through. And that way, if you just need her eye contact, whether she's chasing after something or you drop something in the kitchen, you can get it. Now, the second one, come, is one that I believe is the most important command, and I believe that you should work on it a ton and work on it more than you ever use it. So, it's very basic. All I'm asking is, Sally, come. Okay, good girl. I'm just asking her to come to me. Okay, outside. I'm going to take her out to the bathroom real quick, where she rang the bells, and then we'll come back in. Okay. Okay. So we will cover that house training in detail here in just a minute. But you also notice that she did have to wait at the doorways. That's that manner that we were talking about. But back to the come command. So I believe that's the most important command that you have. Having a recall is so important. But I see this command killed quite often, and reasons being is one, overuse. If you don't have to use it, don't use it. Instead, if I'm 3 feet away from my dog, I can come here, something like that. She's gonna come running over. Good girl. Good girl, huh? Good girl. The other thing is if you don't have to call her, you can just go over and take a hold of her leash. Do that. Especially if you know that she's going to fail. If she's just super distracted by something, if you can go get her, that's the best thing to do. The other thing though is make sure you work on this command. I work on it a lot with a long lead. That way they can get out, explore like on a long lead walk. And if they don't immediately come when called, I can reel them in. But also, they're at the age where teaching them to work with a little bit of pressure is great. Whether you use, I like to collar condition. If you do that right, you don't ever have to really shock your dog. It's more so teaching them how to respond with pressure and make sure that they follow through regardless of how intense the distraction is. So I would work on that one a lot. Like I said, more than you use it. I would never let my dog off leash until I knew for a fact they were going to come back. So now, so the hand signals for sit, down, and stay. So sit is just a scoop over the nose. Down, I'll take my head flat, I'll take her down, and then stay is a stop sign. So we do have both a sit and a down stay, and I'll show you each of those. I can ask her to sit, down, stay, no. And as she follows my hand, I'm going to slide her back just a little bit. Come here, sit, down, there you go. Okay, good girl. Here. And so then the other one, sit, stay. Okay, good girl. So she does get a little bit weird with down sometimes, and it's important that you be patient with her, and also make sure that she can read your body language as well as the hand signal and the verbal cue. Down. Okay, good girl. Doesn't help that we do have a trainer right outside the door playing music. It's distracting her a little bit, but that's alright. It's good to work with distractions. So if they sit, down. There you go. Okay, good girl. And so if she does hesitate, I like to keep it simple, and I'll work on it like 3 or 4 times right in a row. Ah, good girl. Good girl. Huh. Sit. Down. Stay. Nope. Stay. Okay, good girl. And that way you can build the command back up. So the next 2 commands don't necessarily have hand signals, but I allow her to read my body language. Their crate and go to bed. So I'm just going to open the crate and I'll ask her, go to bed. And I don't care what position she's in, as long as all 4 paws are on the bed, and she is expected to stay. Okay, good girl. Go to bed. Good girl. And very similar. Okay, Sally, crate. Send her into her crate. I'll give her the treat when she goes in, and she is expected to stay. Okay, this command also is one that will get burned, because if you just use it when you're going to hook her up, she's no longer want to go in because she knows that you're just going to hook her up and then leave. Crate. So we like to practice it multiple times throughout the day just to keep it light and exciting. Okay, good girl. And the last one that we teach them is leave it. We do this a lot on our walks, but I can use it with food too. But she does know that leave it means leave it permanently. She's not ever allowed to get the treat off the floor if I tell her. Come here. Leave it. Good girl. Just like that, I expect her to walk away, and we can walk back past it, and she knows that she can't get it. Good girl. and I'll always give her a different treat after. Good girl, huh? So that concludes our obedience command. So now I'm going to talk with you just a little bit about the house training and crate training. And so I'll give her something to chew on. You can see that she loves her crate. She just takes it in there to chew on it. So the crate training, we spent a ton of time making sure that she's going to be good in the crate. She's been sleeping through the night, 10 to 6, and not having any issues. Now, she will whine when she needs to let you know that she needs to go to the bathroom. Generally, as you take her home, that should only happen maybe the first night or two because she's going to be under a lot of stress with that transition. And so I actually just like to set an alarm the first night or two just to give her a break halfway through. She's also good to spend 3 to 4 hours during the day without needing a break. Now, the other thing you might see if she starts to whine when you initially put her in there, that should also just happen maybe the first time or two, and that's just because she's under a lot of stress, new place, new people. She's finally starting to get used to you, and then you put her in the crate. You have to ignore that. It's hard for a lot of people, but if you don't ignore it, if you let her out, then she's going to think she can always whine. But instead, I'll give her something to help her calm down, something like a bully stick or a marrow bone. I might even drape a blanket over to make it feel more den-like. But she does great with that. The house training she's been really good at. We teach our dogs to ring a bell when they need to go to the bathroom. This one's going to be important for you to make sure that you teach her where the bell is at and that it means the same thing as it does here. And so I'm going to show you step by step how to do that, but first I just want to explain it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just target the bell. I want to show her that the bell's fun. We're going to basically turn it into a game to make sure that I get a lot of repetitions. If you get a lot of solid repetitions in the first couple days, that's going to show her, one, where the bell's at. She's going to understand where it's at, and that it means the same thing. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just hold the bells out in front of her. Let her ring it a handful of times while just rewarding her. Then I'll do the same thing at the door. I'll hang the bells on the door, let her ring it a handful of times while rewarding her. And then I'll take her outside. If she goes, I'm going to be super positive. I'm going to tell her, okay, get outside, good girl. If she doesn't, I'm just going to bring her right back in. If she does go, even though she just went, I'm going to turn around, regardless of whether she goes or not, sorry. I'm going to turn around, I'll have her ring the bell a couple more times off the door, and we'll go back outside. I'll do that like 4 or 5 times, just to make sure I get those repetitions so she's seeing where the bell's at and seeing where we're going. It's also very important that she is not allowed to play when we go outside to use the bathroom. The bells mean just to go to the bathroom. After you do that exercise, then I like to take her to the bells every 30 minutes. So I'll just set a timer for the first 24 hours. Every 30 minutes we go over, she rings the bell, we go outside. When she goes, super positive, good outside, good girl. If she doesn't, right back in, reset the timer. The exception there is if she's in the crate. After the first 24 hours, then you can start to lengthen it. Go to 45 minutes, then an hour, then 2 hours. For the first couple weeks, I would not let her surpass 2 hours. That way you're staying ahead of her pee schedule, and she shouldn't ever have an opportunity to have an accident. So the other side of this is, it is so important that you give her 100% supervision. She cannot have free access in your house. If you can't give her that supervision, put her in the crate. You can see she doesn't mind it at all, but have to have 100% supervision. The other thing is look for signs that she does need to go to the bathroom. She starts sniffing real heavily, starts doing circles, things like that means that she's got to go. The other thing is that she wakes up, if she's been sleeping longer than 30 minutes or so, she's probably going to have to go to the bathroom. So take advantage of those repetitions that are really meaningful. So now I'm going to pull her out and I'll show you the bells and show you how to go through that. Okay. Drop it. I know, I just gave it to you. Come on, let's come out. Come on. Drop it. Good girl. So the bells, like I said, first thing I'm going to do is just make them positive. Okay, good girl. Just reward her just for ringing it. Okay, good girl. Gently. Good girl. Just a reminder there. Okay. Just so she has a soft mouth. Right, one more time. Okay, good girl. So then I'm going to do the same thing with the door. Take hold of her leash here. Okay, outside. Good girl. Notice the wording. Okay, outside. Good girl. Okay, outside. Good girl. One more time, then we're going out. Okay, outside. Good girl. Expect her to wait at the doorway. Okay. Okay. Good girl. Nope. Let's go. So now if I was doing this at your house, like I said, I would have her ring the bell a couple more times and go back outside. So if you do have any questions about that, ask Jane or Cindy. They'll help you out. So the last part is her leash work. So we take them on two different types of walks. The first is a long lead walk. That's just for her to be a dog. We're somewhere like out in the field or up in the mountains by a lake, somewhere where she can just run around, sniff, and play. That is great for their mental health. But I like to keep them on a long lead until I know for a fact that they're going to check in and return when called. So I work on the come command a lot when we do those types of walks. On that long lead, every minute or two, I'll call her to come. She doesn't immediately come, I can reel her in. I'll give her a treat, let her go again. Keep it off, keeping it really fun and light, and that way she can still have fun on that walk, but you're also working on that command. The second type of walk that we do is our attention walk. This is where I expect her to be by my side. I don't care if she's a step in front of me. I'm not going to expect a really strict heel at this age. But I do expect a loose leash and that she's walking by my side. I'll tell her let's go when it's time to walk, and easy if she starts to pull. We've also started to apply a little bit of pressure with them, and so once again, if you want to use a slip collar or a cinch collar or collar conditioner, that would be great. But we'll go outside and we'll show you that walk. Okay, let's go. When I start this walk, I like to have them start in a sit. That way I have her focus, her attention's on me, and then I'll tell her let's go when we start to walk, as well as when we make corners. I do expect her to keep this slack leash. If she starts to pull, I'll tell her easy and give her that leash correction. Let's go. We'll also give her that information needed if she starts walking into me. Let's go. Or starts pulling off to the side. I'll just give her a little leash pressure. Let's go. Let's go. Nope. She starts getting her nose too much to the ground, starts falling to scent. A little pressure up. And then when I stop, easy. I expect her to put that focus back on me. Good girl. Good girl. Let's go. Go. Just like that. So, thanks again. Let me know, or let Jane and Cindy know if you have any questions.